Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to For Richmond. My name is Jennifer Chan. I'm your MLA for Richmond. It is my honor to be here with all of you today and with a big team of my colleagues here. On behalf of our Manitoba government, we would like to honor the sacredness and importance of this land and of the ancestors who once walked where we are standing today. The Anishinaabe, the Cree, the Dene, the Dakota, the Métis, the Inuit, and the Anishinaabe nations, who paved the way to what is now known as Manitoba, home to all treaty people. The reason we share this information with you is that it's a reminder of our treaty histories and the original homelands of all of those nations, which have become home to all of us here today. As we celebrate 2 years since being elected, today's announcement is another way we're showing our ongoing commitment to you. We have accomplished a great deal since then, and this only adds to our list of priorities. Now, please welcome the Premier of Manitoba, the Honorable Wab Kinew.
I've always loved Manitoba. So today it's amazing to think about how much better Manitoba is today than it was 2 years ago. We as a team in government were elected by you, the people of Manitoba, because we made some big promises. And we've delivered on many of those promises. Coming into government, one of the first things we did is we cut the gas tax and we stopped runaway inflation in Manitoba. We promised to staff up health care. Well, 2 years into government, there are 3,400 new frontline healthcare staff working to care for you at the bedside here in Manitoba. We promised to freeze Manitoba hydro rates. Hydro rates are frozen this year. And though we didn't campaign on this issue was thrust upon us in the campaign by others. We committed to search the landfill. And this year, we brought Morgan and Mercedes home. So there's a lot done, a lot to do. There's a lot to lose if we ever go back to the other guys. But today we're not talking about the past. Today we're talking about the future. And another one of our major campaign commitments to you, the people of Manitoba, being fulfilled. On this, the 2-year anniversary of our election to be your Manitoba government, we're announcing that we are starting construction on the new emergency room here at the Victoria Hospital. Manitoba is a fast-growing province. This is a fast-growing part of our province, and it deserves to have its own emergency room. Closing this emergency room is one of the worst things among many bad things that Heather Stephenson and the PCs did while they were in office. And what we said during the campaign is that we would open the Vic ER when it was safe to do so. Meaning first we had to hire more people to work at the bedside to serve you. And so that's been our focus these first 2 years in government. More than 1,100 nurses, 285 new doctors, more than 1,000 healthcare aides, allied healthcare professionals of all different professionals. The list is a testament to the work that you as Manitobans are putting in to join the front lines, to be there at the bedside, to care for one another in this great province. But now that we have these 3,400 new healthcare workers, we're able to say that it's safe and that the planning has taken place to move ahead with construction here at the Victoria Hospital. So let me pause here for a second just to paint the picture of what this regional service for healthcare and women's healthcare and addictions medicine is going to look like in the future. You're going to have a beautiful new emergency room in South Winnipeg that is going to expand the footprint of the Victoria Hospital. You're going to have the Ann Oak Recovery Center just over there so that women can seek addictions treatment without being separated from their families. You're going to have a menopause clinic that brings back all the services of the former Mature Women's Health Center, and more. And of course, you're going to see increased staffing at the Vic Hospital proper. But people in South Winnipeg and across Manitoba have been asking for an emergency room. So that's what we're focused on here today. The commitment that we're making here today is to just share our plans that we've been hard at work on for the past 2 years. You are seeing the awarding of a contract to the person managing construction, to the outfit, the company managing construction, happening this month. You are going to see activity on site beginning in January 2026, and you're going to see shovels in the ground, construction of the new Victoria Emergency Room in March of this coming year. I had a mentor many years ago tell me when I was trying to pitch him on some idea, he said, yeah, great, sounds good. Everybody has ideas. What matters is who can make those ideas happen. And so our team in the election made a lot of commitments to you, the people of Manitoba. And I think what matters about the work we're doing for you in government is that we're keeping our word. Promises made, promises kept. We're fixing healthcare, we're making your life more affordable, and we're doing it by bringing everybody along. We searched the landfill along the way, and as we said during the campaign, we don't have to agree on everything in order for us to do the big things together. And the next big thing that we're committed to is putting a brand new emergency room right here in South Winnipeg to undo the cuts of the PCs and to build up the healthcare that we need to take Manitoba into a bright, shining future. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Premier, for your continued support to ensure that Manitobans get the care they deserve. And I know, as the MLA for Fort Richmond, I'm so proud to be part of this team. Thank you.
We're proud of you.
Next, I'd like to introduce the Minister of Health, Seniors and Long-Term Care, Uzoma Asagwara, to the podium.
Good morning, everyone. What an exciting day to be here outside the Victoria Hospital. You know, when our government was elected 2 years ago, Manitobans told us very clearly what they need and what they wanted. They wanted a healthcare system that they could count on. Care that is there when and where they need it, delivered by people who are respected and supported. Today, we are showing that vision is becoming a reality. For too long, families in South Winnipeg have faced the stress of wondering where to turn in an emergency. A parent with a sick child in the middle of the night, or an older adult experiencing pains, or someone injured on the job. Too often, that has meant a long drive across the city or waiting too long to be transferred. That wait is ending. Our government has been listening and working very hard, and I want for folks to know that this project isn't just important for South Winnipeg. It strengthens emergency care right across Winnipeg and right across our great province. When people can get the right care in the right place at the right time, it eases the pressure on our entire healthcare system. And importantly, this project reflects the voices of the people who know this hospital the very best, the staff and the community right here in South Winnipeg. Their experiences have shaped the design, and their insight will continue to guide it as we move forward. Because in the end, it isn't about a building, right? It isn't a building that delivers healthcare. It is the people within it. New facilities matter, but it's the doctors, the nurses, the allied healthcare professionals, the aides, and the staff who make a difference each and every day. That's why staffing was the very first and biggest priority of our government. Over 3,400 net new healthcare workers have joined the system to date. More than 1,100 nurses, as the Premier stated, over 1,600 healthcare aides, 285 doctors, and over 400 allied healthcare professionals, and here at the Victoria Hospital, there are over 57 more staff on the job today than there was 2 years ago. The strongest signal that healthcare is turning the corner in our province is that workers themselves are choosing Manitoba. They're choosing to stay, they're choosing to come back, they're choosing to build their careers here in our province because they see a government that is investing in them. They see better pay, safer workplaces, and more training opportunities. And we know the work is not finished. We know there's still much more work to do. Patients are still waiting too long. Staff are still stretched on the front lines, but each and every new hire, each and every new frontline healthcare professional, each new bed is another step towards safer staffing and better care for all. So this is more than just about capacity. It's about culture. We've talked about that a lot. We are listening to the people who deliver care, and we're acting on what it is that they tell us. And that's what respect for the front lines looks like. So today is about progress. It's about a new emergency department for South Winnipeg. It's about thousands of net new healthcare workers across our great province. And it's about a government that is committed to rebuilding healthcare the right way, with people at the center and with staff and communities leading the way. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Minister, and for dedication. And I know I see your work every day, and the Manitobans see the work and the progress that we're making every day. And we really appreciate all the improvement that you have made here. Next, I'd like to invite Brenda Catchpole to the podium from the Victoria Hospital Foundation. Brenda?
Just in the Victoria Hospital.
Hospital.
Not
Okay,
just.
thank you.
That's pretty great. There we go.
Hello, and thank you for coming to our lawn party. On behalf of Victoria Hospital, let me say how excited we are about this project moving forward. For many years, our staff have been providing excellent care in spaces that really weren't designed to meet today's demands. They've done remarkable work under pressure, but the opportunity to serve our patients and their families in an appropriate and thoughtfully designed space, well, it's a bit of a dream come true for us. Turning ourselves back into an emergency department and a new and improved emergency department turns out to be a bit of work. So we're currently up to our elbows in architectural drawings and draft budgets and equipment catalogs. But it's very exciting, and with the help of some amazing architects and designers, our frontline staff and their managers are designing the workspace that they need to do the best job. So let me assure you that we're going to make the most of this opportunity. I do want to thank our staff for their resilience and their dedication, both over the last few years and again as we go forward into this redevelopment phase. Thanks also to our community and government partners for working with us to make this vision a reality. We're very excited about seeing construction begin, and we're even more excited about being able to open the doors to a modern emergency department that's going to serve our community for many years to come. Thank you.
Thank you, Brenda from Victoria Hospital, for your remarks. Now, please welcome Greg Parent to speak. Greg? Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me here today. My name is Greg Parent, and I live in South Winnipeg. It never made sense to me that I had to drive past a hospital in my own neighborhood to reach an emergency room somewhere else in the city. Soon, it'll be just a 5-minute drive to the Victoria ER. And when you've got kids, an older parent, or someone who gets sick in the middle of the night, that distance is always on your mind. That's why I think this new ER matters so much to me, to my family and friends, and to the whole community. We've been missing this for a long time, and I'm very glad to see the government following through on its promise to rebuild this emergency department.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Greg. Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Greg, for your words. And that concludes the formal part of our event. Thank you to all of our speakers, all of the MLAs for coming out today. And we will now open the floor to the media.
You got this, Brenda.
You got it.
Let me see how I can help you. I think one of the biggest issues is going to be space, having an appropriate amount of space. Access between where the clinicians chart and the patients, that needs to be a short space. Easy access to diagnostics. Those would be some of my top of my list.
And the Mature Women's Center, is that going to be in the ER?
No.
So why can't we have the Mature Women's Center before construction? Are the two tied together for some reason?
No.
So when do you have a ETA for the Mature Women's Center?
We're talking about the ER today, so we'll definitely do another public announcement when we're ready to announce the menopause clinic. Yeah, absolutely.
When will the doors open to the new ER?
Well, I'm not supposed to tell you this, but it'll be in the first half of 2027.
I don't know who can answer this, but
Yeah, that'd be Brenda.
need here to run the ER the way it needs to be run? Like, how many more nurses? How many more doctors just for this emergency? To work here?
Well, we're ready to go now. We're going to continue to staff up. You know, we've been putting so much emphasis into the healthcare system and the staffing side of things. But in order for us to get to this point, the first commitment that we wanted to deliver on to people in Manitoba is that we'd move ahead with the Vic ER when we had the staffing piece in place.
The nurses union and others say, though, without this ER, there's not enough staff now in the system. So why are you confident there's enough staff now to do this?
Fixing healthcare requires us to do a lot of complex things at the same time. That means being able to build a beautiful new facility to serve a really fast-growing community in our province, while also continuing to add to the front lines. And you know, let's be realistic. We saw emergency rooms cut. We saw, hundreds of people fired at the same time that the population was growing. So not only were we losing capacity under the PCs, but we were failing to match the growth of need in our community. So many seniors out there want to be able to access care close to home. Being able to deliver on all of your priorities as Manitobans means being able to do a lot of things at the same time.
From a size, and again, don't know who can answer.
Yeah, it might be Brenda.
From a size and capacity standpoint, how does this ER compare to HSC, St. Boniface, and Grace? Obviously, you know how busy HSC and St. Boniface are. How does this compare? Is it smaller? Pardon my ignorance.
Well, definitely invite Brenda to share anything she wants, but just to start, I'm not the project manager or, the lead consultant, but I am the person saying, can this thing be black? Can it look like it's a spaceship that landed in South Winnipeg? Just because we want to have the best of the best here in Manitoba. So often we tell this story to ourselves as Manitobans that, we'll just trudge along with the way things were handed to us. But a new Victoria ER with the Ann Oak Recovery Center, the Menopause Clinic, new investments at this campus is about dreaming about healthcare the way it should be. The ideal state to deliver health services for Manitobans. Concrete examples of what that means. One of the big conversations that we've had with people at the hospital here, including the frontline staff, is about the flow. How are you going to move people quickly from a bed in the ER to a bed in the wards here at the hospital, right? And then reverse engineering, how does the physical space help to accomplish that flow that you always hear about when we're talking about ERs and getting people seen quickly. So that's just one quick example. But again, when we're thinking about the physical space here, it's all about supporting the front lines so that they can support you, the patient who needs healthcare in Manitoba. I'm not talking any election talk today. We're only 2 years into a 4-year mandate that we're so honored to have received from Manitobans.
You did say first half of 27, and if it's a straight 4-year shot there, that would be later in 27. So
Well, I've already shared that I'm really focused on healthcare today, Bart.
Sorry, I'm still not clear how this will compare to your current ERs in terms of size and capacity. Somebody
Yeah, we can share specific specs if you like, but the minister and I actually just came from the Grace Hospital, and I can tell you that is a beautiful emergency room, which we're working really hard to ensure that there's an efficient flow from the ER into the wards. But what you're going to have here is not just the treatment space in the ER, but an actual reconfiguration of how it connects to the rest of the hospital. So one answer to your question is, again, the capacity is going to be expanded here to see more people, to deal with a higher acuity of patient when they arrive here. But we're also reconfiguring how this entry point into the hospital ties into the rest so that it can move people quickly from being seen by a physician, being triaged in the ER, into the wards if they need to stay, or, better case scenario, go home.
How will the construction impact patient care and people coming to urgent care? What's the significant impact of that?
This is still your urgent care. This is still the place where you come to get your lab work done. One of the things we heard in our consultations with nurses and other people on the front lines is, please don't turn our workplace into a work site, a construction site. And so the management of this project is going to be done very, very carefully with the understanding that this is still your community hospital. This is going to be where you access care even while we build the next generation of healthcare for South Winnipeg at this site. Well, we can follow up with all the specific specs offline if you like. You can also check my Instagram page if you want. It's IG @Wabber. And we put all the, we would love for you to report the numbers if you want, or online for you to report, Jeff. Yeah, absolutely.
Are the designs going to be posted somewhere just so we can get a picture of it, or do you know what it's going to look like as an architectural design and shows it?
Yeah, we have some renderings. Like I said, I'm always saying spaceship. It doesn't look like a spaceship right now. It looks more like a really cool contemporary hospital with things like energy efficiency and matching the existing landscape taken into account, which apparently spaceships aren't super energy efficient when you build a building like that. I've now learned. So, it's a learning journey for me, and everyone's really patient, but it's proving really positive results. Mm-hmm. Yeah, one of the legacy issues that we're trying to improve with our approach to healthcare is just making sure that when you need healthcare, you can get it as soon as possible and in the right place. And what I can say, 2 years into our time here in office, today, right now in Manitoba, you can use your new plastic health card to go on to medinav.ca and book an online appointment at tons of clinics here in Winnipeg, as well as in Selkirk, Steinbach, Brandon. And you may never need to come to the urgent care if it's a lower acuity situation. You may never need to visit the emergency room if it's a less serious condition. That's just one of the steps that we're taking. When we came into office, we recognized very quickly that consolidation, as it was called, was executed in such a messy way that it just caused so many more problems in the hospital system. And so many issues for the paramedics, for the people in the ambulances. And I think that's one of the reasons why, our MLA from Waverley, David Pankratz, chose to run. It's because he saw firsthand what happened to healthcare. So again, ensuring that when somebody from South Winnipeg needs an emergency service, that they can get it here is part of the functional design of this emergency department. Because we don't want people driving past their community hospital to get the care that they need. You should be able to get it right here in South Winnipeg. We will still have the specialty services. St. B will still be the heart hospital, as one example, but you will be able to come here, get stabilized, get the care that you need, and then if, for example, maybe you need an angiogram at some point, then you could go to the St. B, but then come back here and receive the rest of your care in South Winnipeg at the Victoria.
So will this have an ICU? Emergency access?
So we're using the term, it's an intense observation unit. So this is one-to-one care and intensive, sorry. But this is one-to-one care. This is a very, very, very intense form of medical intervention.
So is that different than an ICU?
It's a different set of letters, but the one-to-one care is there.
Would ICU doctors consider it as good as an ICU? You know, we're going to ask them.
Well, I look forward to hearing their response. I think this is a true emergency room. Fiscal year, I guess we're sticking to that. Yeah. 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 Well, the budget, as you know, April 1 to March 31. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, you know, the first thing I want to remind folks is just about medinav.ca. Right now, for the first time in Manitoba's history, you can book an appointment online. Use your new plastic health card, book an appointment through medinav.ca. You can see an urgent care level of intervention booked online without actually coming down to the urgent care. You can book an appointment with an emergency room doctor, without actually going to the emergency room. You still should go to the emergency room if it's a really, really serious condition. But we need to help people understand that we've dramatically expanded your ability to access care in Manitoba. That said, we're 2 years into what is going to be a multi-year process. It took the PCs 7.5 years to cause the damage that they did, chasing hundreds of nurses out of the system and closing 3 emergency rooms. Year 2, we can say there's 3,400 more people working on the front lines. There's a lot more work to do. The biggest risk to the progress that we've seen so far would be moving back to the other approach.
Sorry, I want to be clear in our reporting. It's going to be an intensive observation unit, or how do I?
Yeah,
Not an ICU, but it's one-on-one.
one nurse for one patient. It has the highest level of diagnostics and medical equipment at the bedside for patients. It resembles an ICU in any way that you or I would notice were we to walk into this unit. The difference is that when you get to the level of specialists in the medical profession, anesthesiologists, and the other folks who run an ICU, they're going to make a distinction based on the volume that an ICU sees versus what we're talking about here as an intensive observation unit. But the point for the average Manitoban, such as you or myself, is that when you need care in an emergency, you're no longer going to have to drive by the Victoria. You can come here and you can expect that your stay will be here at the Victoria Hospital.
So to Steve's question, would there be a scenario though, where I'm in the observation unit, I'll sit with the doctor, and there's a scenario where, okay, no, we've got to send that patient to an ICU at one of the other hospitals. I'm trying to, you get my question?
Yeah, yeah, and I hope you get what I'm trying to share as a response, which is that we are always going to have specialty programs within our healthcare system in Manitoba. Probably the most familiar example for Manitobans is the cardiac care program, which, by the way, 2 years in, we are rebuilding in Manitoba. This is another part of the healthcare system that was cut under the previous government. So St. B will always be the cardiac center of excellence in our provincial healthcare system. And right now, if you need an angiogram at another hospital, you're likely going to be sent to St. B for that test. The same sort of situation will happen from the Vic, but the point is, for the vast majority of emergency situations, for the vast majority of healthcare needs, you are going to be able to come here to the Victoria Hospital, get seen by emergency room doctors, get treated in a hospital that is right there next to your family and friends who can come and give you that support that's so important for your healing, as well as being able to be referred to let's say addictions services nearby in the same community, or perhaps hormone replacement therapy for menopausal women. Not only an investment in good quality for life in the community, but also preventing perhaps further interactions with the medical system, because we're going to see less hip fractures and the like when more women have access to HRT, which, by the way, 2 years into government is covered under our provincial pharmacare formulary. So again, we're here saying that there's a lot of things we've been able to do. One of the marquee commitments that we've made is the Victoria Emergency Room, and we're really looking forward to getting the shovels in the ground so that we can have people expand the options for healthcare here in South Winnipeg. There is a question right behind you, but yeah, we can, yeah. Ben, nous sommes ici 2 ans dans le gouvernement, ton gouvernement provincial, pour annoncer que nous commencerons le bâtiment de cette nouvelle salle d'urgence dans mars de 2026. C'est-à-dire une de nos promesses les plus importantes dans la campagne électorale pour avancer l'amélioration de notre système de santé va commencer cette année prochaine.
Mr. Premier, East Alberta Beggars Association held a news conference shortly before this, calling for the termination of the health deficits. This was a historic moment when it was announced from the Premier and Minister Ivey federally.
Sorry, can you just clarify? C92, is that what you're talking about?
He announced the dissolution of the, forgive me, I don't know the building number. He held a news conference this morning to announce the dissolution of the Beggars Health Deficits.
Could I ask that we return to this later in the day? Sorry, I haven't heard anything about this press conference. Yeah, I apologize. I didn't hear that, but we will get back to you. I can commit to that. Okay, we'll do Zoom, and then we'll come back to people in person here.
Thank you, Premier. We have one reporter, Michelle McDougall from the Brandon Sun. Michelle, one question, one follow-up.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone. Congratulations
Hi, Michelle.
on the ER announcement. My question is about Western Manitoba for Minister Uzoma Asagwara.
There's a lot fewer Zoom meetings 2 years into government, so that's really good for the province too. We're having some technical issues here, if you can hear us in the control room, so I think we'll just go back to see if there's any more questions here on location.
On another subject, just a question about the Millennium Library and the resource center there, and we've heard that there's potentially provincial funding and support.
There are. Yeah, there is. I should.
Can you provide any more information, detail?
Yeah.
Social workers, what do you think you'll see there?
Yeah, no, be happy to provide the details, but I think the most important thing that I'd like to see is that people who use this public space as a library to be able to access the help that they need, that continue. And we heard loud and clear from a lot of people who care about the Millennium, but also just care about our downtown, that this is an important response. And so as a provincial government, as part of our overall response to making Manitoba healthier, making downtowns across the province healthier, we're happy to step up and do our part to help. Yeah, I think those are from me specifically. Yes, we'll have some more details to share specifically about a pretty big government-wide initiative on that front. We'll be able to share with. We'll be able to share that with you very soon. Where we're at right now, though, in terms of building the budget for the coming year, is we're currently in the process of handing out the targets to each department. So just the way the budgeting works is that each department will now get that target, agriculture, justice, and so on and so forth, healthcare, and then they'll figure out, okay, how are we going to deliver that quality of service to Manitobans given this expectation? Some are one time, yeah. Well, the first spending target that I have is to be able to deliver the healthcare that you need as Manitobans. And in order for us to put the new Victoria Emergency Room here, we had to add staff to the healthcare system. And so that's the first step, is to figure out what have we got to do to build the new ER, to keep adding staff in the healthcare system, to bring wait times down, and then we work backwards from there. It's basically like an algebra equation, and I hate to remind people of their high school algebra on such a beautiful sunny day, but we're trying to solve for X after we've been given, here's what the spend in health is going to be. No, it's not that kind of target. Our approach is different than what's been reported, and again, I don't have first-hand knowledge, so I'm just going off what's been reported. What we're saying here is, here's the level of investment you should plan around. Well, what we're talking about is you're rebuilding a healthcare system that is missing a lot of important pieces to be able to care for you. Well, the healthcare positions that we've added, 3,400 to date, are a really important part of our overall financial picture as a government. Health is the largest government department by far. You're talking about a ballpark spend of $10 billion that is increasing about 10% per year, and that's not unique to Manitoba. So this is a major piece of the financial picture, which is why I'm saying to your colleague that, you know, we're trying to solve for X given what the health spend is going to be. Now, there is another important public policy question that you're posing, I think, which is, what is the role for government in the age of AI-based job displacements? Well, I would encourage you to think about it, and I think everyone here should think about it. In the past week, you've seen massive headcount reductions from Accenture, Imperial Oil here in Canada, Lufthansa in the EU, driven by automation and the use of artificial intelligence for what is white-collar work. So the reason why we're starting with a investment target exercise for departments is because we want Manitobans to have time to think about, are we going to invite AI-based job displacement into our province? What is the right mix of public sector jobs in our economy? The question of vacancy management fits underneath some of these bigger picture macro societal goals. And I think these are going to be really, really important for us to answer in the next few years. I'd invite you to think about the role that we are going to have to answer when it comes to the meaning of work in the future of our society.
We're going to trouble you with some security questions, because that has been a serious issue this week.
Yeah, for sure.
Do you know the number of incidents involving members of the public as a whole? Is it government track, is it party track? Are you aware of that? Is that something that...
You know, operational stuff about security I can't really talk about.
I understand the details of that. In terms of numbers, does every member of the cabinet have security?
Operational aspects of security I can't talk about in public.
Okay, how about this? I'll ask you more philosophical question that you can talk about.
Is it about AI? No? Oh, darn it. Okay.
It is increasingly difficult, as everybody
Well, I'll give my personal commitment to that. And, you know, here's how I think about that issue. 2 years into government, I'm so blown away by how optimistic and positive the people of Manitoba are. We have been so lucky as a government to be able to do big things on the economy, big things in healthcare, big things across the departments of government because you have stepped up as Manitobans with an open mind to work with us. On the way into government, I wasn't sure that it would be like that. Shortly before we started campaigning in the 2023 election, I updated my will. And the reason why I did that is that campaign was shaping up to be very, very divisive. And I thought to myself, there's a non-zero possibility that somebody is going to attack me while I'm campaigning. The campaign proved to become even more divisive than that. Everybody in South Winnipeg drove by the Stand Firm billboard on Route 90. But is that who we are as Manitobans? No. Because when you had the right to exercise your democratic agency by voting on October 3rd, 2023, you as Manitobans rejected division. And for that, we're eternally grateful, not just because we got to form government, but because it's inspiring to think that there's a province in the middle of Canada, when confronted with hatred and division, rejects that and says, nope, we want to talk about unity, we want to talk about things that unite. And when we think about the security situation that we're facing today, we are living through a challenging period. The past few weeks have been very, very challenging, in particular for a few members of our team who we support very much and we care about very much because we are a team, apart from not only being your provincial government. But I am reminded of what former President Barack Obama has said recently, you know, riffing off that old Martin Luther King quote. And he says, you know, the arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends towards justice. And Mr. Obama's addition is that it doesn't bend on its own. It bends towards justice because people get involved and pull it. And so that's where we are in Manitoba today. And your provincial government is going to do what it takes to keep public servants, both elected and, you know, civil servant, political staff types, safe when they go to, while they're at, and when they come home safe from work. But I invite Manitobans too to continue bending the moral arc of our province towards a safer, more inclusive, more unified place by being involved, being active. And let me be clear, this is not a partisan thing in any way. It would be absolutely possible for a right-wing politician to come out and say, you know what, I believe in a strong, unified Canada that includes everybody, and it just so happens to be founded on small government. I haven't heard anyone say that, but I'm laying out how it would be possible. And so to Manitobans who are watching everything that's going on, from Charlie Kirk to your local MLA offices being burned here in Manitoba recently, I would say don't despair, don't step back. Let's continue working up and stepping up. Let's continue working together and stepping up together to build the Manitoba that we want to hand to our kids in the next generation. When I was first elected as an MLA, there wasn't even a security checkpoint, really. Like, there were security guards at the front. You know, members of the press corps will remember this. There was no metal detector. There was no, you know, you could stop and ask for directions if you wanted, but there was no requirement to check in. And then I think during COVID, it went too far in the other direction. The legislature is not a fortress. The legislature is the people's building. Any decisions we take on security have to be balanced with you, the people of Manitoba's right to be able to access your government. That it means access to your democratic representatives. It means the right to be able to protest. It means the right to be able to take your kids there on a beautiful summer day and, you know, maybe break the rules a little bit by splashing around in the fountain that you're not supposed to splash around in. So we're going to get the balance right. But again, it doesn't happen by accident. It happens through deliberation and by Manitobans saying, yeah, we want public servants to be safe, while at the same time ensuring that a free press is not being unduly restricted, and that the people, most importantly, have access to their leadership. And I'll honk for that any day. Just kidding. We are, I forget which word you used in your question. So I would say we're in the preparation phase. Not that we have a specific path forward that we've landed on. We're consulting right now. Management, labor, that's all being reviewed. And I think that this is something that we'll be taking a look at. We're going to be asking doctors to see a ton more people here. Maybe we should free up some of their time. And that applies across the healthcare system too, not just at the VIC.
On sovereignty, Premier, you've expressed your support for the constitutional monarchy. You went to see the King deliver the speech from the throne in Ottawa. So why now, with U.S. President Trump threatening our sovereignty and Canada trying to express its uniqueness and its own sovereignty, why not allow school divisions that want to sing God Save the King? Why not pull that out of Bill 40?
Well, everybody can sing God Save the King if they want to. This is just red tape. This is just something that nobody has observed for decades, and so we're removing it from statute. But everyone's free to wear your monarchist pin and, sing God Save the King and to gossip about Meghan and Harry to your heart's content. At our house, we get the little biscuits with the, what is the cream that they sell in the UK? The coddled cream. And then, yeah, right, you know what it is. And then the jam, Carol. And then the jam, and then, tea and crumpets. Let's have some royal gossip. Was that enough? Yeah. Too funny.
All right.
Hey.